Everybody, and today I'm here to talk about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3 since we finished Ninja Turtles Season 3. Now we're going to talk about the third movie. So this is easily probably the most disliked Ninja Turtle movie. And honestly, I agree, it's probably is my least favorite Ninja Turtle movie. It's where the turtles travel in time by a specter, some specter-like object that April brought for Splinter as a gift, and now the turtles have to find their way back while also dealing with an army of samurais. So, honestly, that's not a bad concept for a Ninja Turtles movie, but, the way they did it is just, ugh. And the villains are not really good, but, we're gonna get more into that, but I might as well start off by talking about the designs. Okay, so the designs are, I gotta admit, they're probably the worst of, they just look really odd. I don't know why. They just do not look like how they looked in the first movie. Not that the first one was, spectacular, but, it was awesome that they tried something new with movies, making rubber suits of the Ninja Turtles. But in this, it's, I don't know why they have, little freckles on them, and they look way too light. I don't know. It's nitpicking, but, I don't know. It's just, they look weird. I don't know, the next mutation, those ones look kind of odd. I don't know, I think these are probably my least favorite designs of the Turtles. The Michael Bay ones, they just look like CGI Hulks, but we'll probably talk about those movies someday. But anyway, it all starts with the Turtles kind of bored in the sewer, but it isn't until April comes, and then she's ready to go on some, vacation, but she has gifts for the turtles. She gave Raph a hat. She gave Mikey some, lamp hat or something. Donnie, I think she gave him, a little radio. And Leonardo a book. And for Splinter, it's this time staff thing. She thought it was just some Japanese relic. But, meanwhile, in 16-something... there's this samurai who has the same thing that April has, and it turns out there's this prophecy of these Ninja Turtles that are gonna come to their land and free them from their ongoing war, and he basically, activates it, and it starts to activate in the current time, which is, in this movie, it's the 90s, but anyway, the thing starts to glow, and April's, freaking out what's going on, but then she is teleported away. And the turtles are like, what just happened? And then April is sent and swaps clothes with this samurai guy. And apparently this staff, if you, if you use it, you teleport and you swap clothes. It's crazy. And then April appears to the samurais, and they capture her, obviously. And they're trying to see if she's a threat. But, it turns out she's not a threat. And they decide to lock her up. And that's where April sees, a prisoner next to her who looks a resemblance of Casey. But that's where Casey Jones comes in. So Casey Jones wasn't in the last Ninja Turtle movie. Because angry parents thought he was too violent of a character. So, even though he's in this movie, he's been toned down a little. He does. I don't think he even wears a hockey mask. I think he only wears it just to hang out with what becomes relevant later in the movie. Casey has not much to do in this movie. It's like they just had him in it just to have him in it. But it turns out the guy who played him, who also plays this guy, the guy I was just talking about, who's in the cage of April. He's relevant in the story, but anyway, the Turtles, with Donnie's help, they're able to track where April is, and they use the staff when it shakes again, and they manage to swap with a bunch of samurais, and Casey's prepared to what's to come, but these samurai dudes end up in their underwear, and the Turtles end up in their samurai outfits, and they're in an ongoing war. And they end up getting separated. Well, Mikey is separated from them, but he happens to have the little the time scepter thing, and he manages to be riding his horse backwards. Like, it's meant to be silly, since this movie is it's still like as lighthearted as like the second movie, since they toned down since the first movie, and it still is in this movie. But the turtles manage to try to find their ways to April, where they're trying to look for Mikey, but they just can't. But they're gonna look for April first. So Leo, Donnie, and Raph use their disguises to infiltrate the palace of these samurai warriors, and I think they managed to find her with the help of this guy. I forget his name. His name's like Will or something. But he's played by the Casey Jones's actor. Maybe he's his ancestor. That's my wild theory. But they managed to sneak to the land. But Mikey is like captured by one of the natives. I forget her name. Like, she kind of reminds me of like a Karai-like character. But I think they managed to capture Mikey and held him in like this one little room. But he ends up losing the staff, but it's taken by a mysterious figure. But while this is all going on, the turtles are trying to figure out what is going on. But I think Mikey, when a raid happens with these samurais, they end up raiding the village, and then Mikey manages to escape, and everyone's like freaked out by Mikey's appearance. And I think the turtles manage to track where Mikey is by coincidence, when it's revealed that they set fire to one of their villages, and the woman's son I think his name is Yoshi. He is trapped in this fire, and guess who saves him? Michelangelo. And that's where the turtles finally see where he is, and they manage to find him. And Mikey does save Yoshi in the nick of time. And the fire scene's actually intense. Like, I actually felt the tension. But the villagers are freaked out because they're wondering what Leonardo's doing, because he tries to actually mouth to mouth with the kid so he can save him from dying of the fire. But he manages to live, and the people accept them. When they do get this scene where she takes off the helmet and figures out who the turtles are. And I just like one of the concepts of this movie is like the turtles somewhat found a place where they can be accepted, since New York never would accept them because they're mutants and they're different from the average person. But as this is going on, the turtles are kind of just hanging out, but they are worried they'll never find the sector thing, and April's starting to give up, and she says, I might as well just move in, find an apartment. Like, it's actually, this time sector thing is actually terrifying, because it turns out they only got 60 hours left to till they get home. If they don't find a sector, then they're trapped. But there's this one scene where Raphael is bonding with Yoshi, like he teaches him to play with a kite, and it's quite nice. And they have this bonding scene where they're talking, but that's where, while the turtles are looking for the other sector, it turns out that Yoshi has the sector the whole time. And I like the scene where he yells, Leo! And they manage to find the scepter, but it turns out the main villains of this movie want the scepter for themselves because they hate how the turtles are infiltrating their business. This is the villain of the movie. I don't even know their names. The big issue with this movie for me is just I do not like the villains of this movie. I know maybe people got tired of Shredder showing up, but this guy, I don't even. He kind of reminds me of a Shakespeare-like villain character. That's a weird comparison, I know, but, I don't know, his character was boring. In the Samurai Guy, he was also boring. This movie could have had potential with, it, but, I don't know, the movie's just very silly. You can't really take it seriously. But they managed to steal the scepter, but with so much little time, and they managed to get into a, I'm kind of jumping a bit, but like they managed to have a final battle with these guys. And I do like the scene where Leo has a fight with this samurai looking dude. And he ends up like chopping his little like thing on his hair. But I think what happens to the Sector is like this guy, who looks like Casey Jones, he ends up betraying the Turtles, and that's where he's able to steal the Scepter and gives it to the villains, and they want it for themselves, but the Turtles manage to track him down, and they try to he's proven to be very cowardly since he tries to run away with the Scepter, and he uses his goons to fight them, and he manages to he tries to escape with his pet bird, and he keeps forgetting to take it with him. So he had a care for his pet birds, but yeah, it ends up being his downfall. As like this guy, he ends up betraying him by throwing like a giant lava rock at him, causing him to die and fall to his death. And the Turtles get their Scepter, but they only have so little time left, as the Sector's about to go off, and that's where Casey Jones becomes relevant, where he's trying to show the random ninjas what life is like in the modern world, but they have so little time, and so they have to get back to the sewer, and Casey manages to get them back with the sensei dude, and they manage to touch the Scepter, but it turns out Michelangelo does not want to go, because he feels he's been accepted here. And Rafa had second thoughts too, but the girl tells them, like, we can't be here. You guys can't be here. And then Leo makes the argument, like, we'll be infiltrating their lives. That'd be selfish. And then April's like, yes, that's so true. So that's why we have to leave. And April wants to leave too. I can't blame her, because I would not want to be trapped in the 1600s. Like, seriously, like, who would? But at the last second, Mikey, when the Scepter goes off, everyone returns except for Mikey. And the Turtles are devastated to think that Mikey is now trapped in the 1600s. But it turns out, at the last second, he was teleported away back to the present. And the fellow ninja guy is sent back home. And the two... the samurai guy and it turns out this is his wife, and they're going to be happily married as the ongoing war goes on with the samurais. And the Turtles celebrate dancing, and yeah. I didn't really talk about Splinter or Casey, but they don't, like I said, they don't do much in this movie. I think Splinter was even more, I don't think he even had legs in this scene, where he was just more animatronic. But I don't know what behind the scenes was. And Splinter looks totally different. And it ends with him like putting on Michelangelo's party hat. Like it's meant to be a silly scene. But anyway, that's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3. It's a pretty meh movie. Like I think it had potential to be. Honestly, I don't think it could have had a good. Like it had the story had potential, but like it just wasn't executed well. And there was going to be a fourth movie, but they canceled it. I assume it was because this movie didn't do well. And I think a lot of kids didn't really like this movie. When I saw this when I was little, I originally thinking it was not my favorite. So I probably give Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3 probably like a 5 or 4 out of 10. It's like, maybe a 5, that'd be fair. Like, there's some ideas I liked in it. But overall, it was definitely the weakest of the trilogy. They honestly should have just stuck with the first movie. But the next, we're going to be reviewing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Season 4, and then after that, we'll probably review TMNT. So that being said, thanks for watching, and Turtle Power!